Hi, we're back, and let's do a little practice on Chapter 6, the imperfect tense of the verb to be, and the use of demonstrative pronouns. So let's get started. I'll press my pause button, and you do the same, and do your own work. All right, the first one, ekuamen. Imperfect active indicative, first person plural, we were hearing. Notice the augment right up here with the eta. That's a lengthened alpha. All right, the next one, etherapua, imperfect active indicative, third person singular. He, she, or it was healing. The third one, exeparuata, this is an imperfect deponent indicative, third singular. He, she, or it was going out. Now, notice the augment right here. This is the augment that shows up between the preposition and the verb stem. Ebaptidzanta, imperfect, middle passive, indicative, third person plural. They were being baptized. Elegon, imperfect active indicative, first singular or third plural. I was saying or they were saying. Eta, imperfect, indicative, second person plural of the verb Amy, you were. Anabinusi, present active indicative, third person plural. They go up or they ascend. And exebales, imperfect active indicative, second person singular. You were casting out. And notice the augment right there, right in between the preposition and the verb stem. All right, let's do a few more. And I'll pause. All right, let's check your answers. Apestelen, imperfect, active, indicative, third person singular, he, she, or it was sending. Notice that apestelen is from the compound verb apostello. So the augment there shows up as the first epsilon. Edidaskata, imperfect, active, indicative, second person plural, you were teaching. Didaskamen, stem plus ending. Present, active, indicative, first person plural. Edidaskamen, augment, stem, ending. Imperfect, active, indicative, first person plural, we were teaching. Didaskamatha, stem plus ending. Imperfect, middle passive, indicative, first person plural, we are being taught. And then the next one, edidaskamatha, augment, stem, ending. Imperfect, middle passive, indicative, first person plural, we were being taught. And ason, imperfect, indicative, third plural of the verb to be, they were. And then sunegon, this is a compound verb from sun plus ago. So there's the augment, it's the eta. So imperfect, active, indicative, first singular or third plural, I was gathering together or they were gathering together. So let's do a few more here. These are sentences. All right, let's check your work here. Hey, toimadzan, imperfect, active, indicative, either first singular or third plural. I was preparing their hearts or they were preparing their hearts. Edidaskamen tein ecclesian, we were teaching the church. Entokosmo, ein, he was in the world. Ein there, imperfect indicative of Amy. He, she, or it was. The fourth one there, the child was being led by the man. Egata, imperfect, middle passive indicative, third singular. He, she, or it was, in this case it's the child. And the last one, in that day, the disciples were descending or going down to the sea. Now notice here, katebainon is from katabaino. That's a compound verb, so there's our augment. So let's look at a few examples from Scripture. Mark 1:5, kai exaperuata. This is from ekperuomai. There is our augment. Here's our stem, and here is our ending, eta. Now the subject is pasa he Iudaya, Chora. All the Judean countryside, and then this word over here, ha hirasalumitai, it refers to all the Jerusalemites or all the inhabitants of Jerusalem. So that's the subject of the verb. So all of the Judean countryside and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem were going forth or going out to him. Here's the to him, and the referent there is John the Baptist. And ebaptidzanta, imperfect, middle passive, indicative, third person plural. They were being baptized, one after another. That's the meaning of the imperfect tense here. By him en to Irodane Patamo, in the Jordan River. Now, here we have a participle here, while they were confessing, and the confessing there is in the middle voice, meaning for themselves, tas hamartias, their sins. Mark 1:21. All right, kai esparuantai. This is a present, deponent, indicative, third person plural, and they enter. Or as they were entering here, it would be used as a historical present. Eis Capharnaum, into Capernaum, and immediately tois Sabbasin, on the Sabbath. Eis Elthon, after entering. Eis tain synagogain, into the synagogue. Edidaskin. Here we have the augment, stem, and then the ending. He was teaching, or perhaps here in the inceptive sense, he began to teach. Now, here we have a verb, exaplacenta. This comes from ekplacemai, which is a compound verb that is also deponent. And right here we have our augment. They were being amazed, epite didache autu, at his teaching. And then we have the imperfect of the verb to be, for he was didaskon, that's a participle, teaching, and it's used in a supplementary way with the imperfect form, teaching them as having authority. Echon's a participle of echo, and not as hoi grammates, the scribes. All right. John 1:1 and 2, very familiar text. En arche ein halagas, kai halagas ein pras tan thean, kai theas ein halagas. Hutas ein en arche pras tan thean. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was, now notice the lexicon, BDAG, translate this, and I think appropriately, as in company with, in a relational way. In company with God, and the Word was God. Now over here, we have the demonstrative pronoun, this one was in the beginning in company with God. All right, the second one. Eke di etriben met auton kai ebabtidzen. All right, eke is an adverb. Now notice the verb diatribo. It's a compound verb, and it means I remain. So we look at our verb right here, and we see an augment. So augment, stem, ending. Imperfect, active, indicative, third singular. He was remaining, met auton, with them, kai ebabtidzen. Augment, stem, and then ending. And he was baptizing. And the last one here, epigenoskan te autus hatisun to Jesu esan. All right, epigenoskan comes from epigenosko, that's a compound verb. And we notice our augment right here. So imperfect, active, indicative, third person plural. And this has to do with the religious leaders, so it has to be the plural. And they were recognizing them, hati sun to Jesu esan. Here's the imperfect, indicative of Amy, third plural. They were with Jesus. Well, I trust that this practice has been helpful to you and that you feel encouraged.